Welcome to episode 130 of BigRedBarel Geek Speak, a place for all your nerdy needs on BigRedBarel.com. My name is Alex, I'm a self-appointed baroness of butts. I'm also one of the hosts for this show. And joining me, as always, is lovely, jaunty, jubilant juggernaut of Joe.
Hello!
Hello.
Alright.
Yeah.
Good.
A bit sleepy. As you know, I had an alarm on.
You're not much of a morning person, are you?
No, I'm really not.
I've been up for hours, so...
Which, you know, this morning podcast has really been, they've been really tough. But anyway, I had an alarm at 9:30, which I snoozed in my sleep.
Nice.
Then there was another one at like 9:40, which I snoozed in my sleep. At about 10:06, I wake up in panic, and I'm like, no! And literally run from my room to my computer.
I was sat here like,
elevator music playing.
Yeah.
Anyway, if you haven't guessed, Lauren is not with you tonight. But we have last minute and very lovely, boisterously bashful Banana Bleezey. What?
Hi. I think that was the nicest intro I've ever had.
Hey.
Like, it was the least abusive, at least.
Oh, we'll give it time.
Yeah.
We'll abuse you plenty.
Yeah, I know. It's coming. We're just easing it in.
Also, you want to talk about your morning. My morning was my sister saying, you know the milk in your fridge has gone off. Please go get some. And as I was at the shops, literally paying, I get that text coming through going, podcast? I'm like,
I'm so sorry. We needed someone's stat.
I ran back from the shops for you guys.
Thanks, we appreciate it.
Thanks.
I did also buy the milk in case everyone
Good.
needs to know the outcome
You
of the
didn't
story.
just run off with the milk. Like, I'm sorry! As you run down the street with a
Yeah, as security's chasing me, I'm like, got a podcast though.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Okay, guys. So, should we start with the time waster of the week?
Yes, certainly.
That comes courtesy from me, and we kind of talked about them before a little bit. But as you know, I'm still going through my adventures in Yarnum, which yesterday did not go very well.
What boss are you on now?
I am boss in the Unseen Village. I don't know what you called. But he has a bad habit of one shot killing you with venom, which I do not appreciate.
What, the enormous boss? Is it the one reborn that you're on? Yeah. He's
that was born out of the moon.
Obviously, you know you have to kill all the women around the top first, right? The bell ringers.
Yes,
cool.
yes,
Just
yes,
checking,
yes,
because a lot of people don't realise that, and then they're like, why aren't I doing any damage? Kill the women first.
How very progressive of you, Joe.
I know. Women and children first.
It was very annoying because there was three of us, right? So Thomas was downstairs murdering the big guy.
Right.
Calvin and me were running on top killing the women. And then as we finished killing the last woman, we hear, "Ah!" which means that Thomas is dead because Venom one-shot killed him. And Thomas was like, that person never done it before. And I'm like, right. So we go. And we get him to the inch of his death. Like, seriously. He died as I died. So it didn't count.
Yeah, it doesn't count. Yeah, that's the worst. I've had that happen to me. But I did the one reborn on my own, so I don't know what you guys are doing. Just, come on. Get it together.
I don't know. We're just, smashing.
I have never played it, but I feel like you guys can do better.
I feel like
Thanks.
you underperformed there, definitely.
Thanks for moral support, everyone.
I'm
I
sorry.
appreciate it.
We believe in you. You can do it. You can do
This
it.
is going to be the most upbeat podcast ever. No disrespect. No mocking me. Only positivity.
Yeah.
Next time
right.
you fight him and he one-shots you, just imagine me in the corner just tutting, like judging. Like,
We could be your coaches
wow.
on
What,
the
you're going to be
sidelines.
condescending, ringing your bell and going, na.
yeah. Yeah, just imagine that's me, like all the women at the top ringing the bell. Just imagine it's me and you'll just wreck them. Like, die!
Anyway, this is not a bloodborne portion part of this podcast. The reason why I was saying is because I was going to recommend Prepare to Try, which we spoke about before, which I'm sure a lot of our listeners were watching already, but anyway, I've been watching it as well because I've been doing my Bloodborne research. They're a separate channel from IGN, but it's IGN guys. They also get posted on IGN. I'm not really sure how YouTube works, but you can find them in IGN videos and in Prepare to Try videos. And there's Gav Murphy, Daniel Krupa, and Rory Powers, and they play through tough games, and they're quite hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
And that's honestly all I've got to say. If you don't want to watch three very hilarious dudes playing really tough games, I can't really help you out.
It is
there.
very fun. They're very entertaining.
Exactly. So there you go. That's our time waster of the week. Now we go into the news. So Deadpool 2 trailer.
Yeah.
You're feeling about it.
I just do not care about Deadpool. I mean, we talked about this before about how I don't really like Deadpool. My fella likes Deadpool, so I'll probably have to go and see it. But I'm not a fan. But, I'm sure the trailer's very good. And Cable, actually, I'm more interested in Cable than I am in Deadpool because Josh Brolin is super cool and Cable is super cool.
But Julian Dennison, Joan.
I don't know who that is.
Ricky Baker?
No, try again.
Hunt for the Wilder People?
Yeah, no, I follow now.
He's super cool. I'm finding it very difficult to get anything beyond meh about Deadpool. But, we'll see. It could be awesome. But considering I didn't really like the first one, nah.
I think this is just gonna be sort of funny, leave your brains outside the theater kind of movie that it's not gonna, the first movie didn't have a fantastic plot. It was very generic. But, I thought it had its own character. It was very distinctive, which at the end of the day is kind of what I look in a superhero movie because there's so many of them out there that I do want to have something that has a bit of its own personality, and Deadpool has a lot of his own personality.
My issue with Deadpool in the first place is that I didn't find it very funny because I found it super try-hard. It was just, look at me, look how wacky I am and funny, ha 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 ha, kind of comedy, and I found it a bit too laboured. It was silly college gross-out humour that thinks it's hilarious but actually isn't really that clever or funny. And so I'm kind of feeling, well, the new one is probably, based on what I've seen so far, it's going to be more of the same, just butt jokes and just the usual Deadpool jokes. But it's just not for me. It's not my level of humour at all. I don't find that very funny. But I'm sure tons of other people love it, so that's great. I hope the movie's really good, so that the people who love Deadpool will enjoy it. But yeah, not for me.
Well, do you know what? It's actually interesting that you say it's not your level of humour because normally it isn't mine either. I hate fart and butt jokes and all the related toilet humour. Just despise it. That's why I pretty much universally hate almost any Anna Faris comedy because they usually devolve into that.
They're dreadful. Yeah.
But for some reason, for me, Deadpool, it was just on the verge. It treaded very closely to the line where I would, if it just tipped slightly, I would hate it for that comedy.
Yeah. I think that's where it tipped for me.
Yeah, I think it just tipped a little bit early for you because for me, it's just on a line. If they overdo a couple of more of those jokes, I wouldn't like it.
Yeah.
But they stayed there, and that was helpful because otherwise, as I said, I don't like that humor either. I kind of prefer more of a smart comedy, but to me that worked. And look, I'm kind of excited because, as I said, I love Julian Dennison. Ricky Baker is the best.
Yeah, he's so cool.
Terry Crews is in this as part of the X-Force.
That's pretty much what's got me signed on.
And we love Terry Crews!
Yeah, that makes it more interesting that Terry Crews is in it.
Yeah, I think Megasonic Teenage Warhead is going to be more of a prominent position in this movie, and I hear she's got a girlfriend in this movie.
Good.
So, yeah, there we go. I mean, look, the second trailer just pretty much told us a little bit more of a plot, and it was less of a Deadpool basically making fun of a trailer. It was more the actual traditional, as you would expect a movie trailer. And yeah, I mean, watch it.
I mean, their marketing is great. They're doing really well because it's very much tying into what their audience wants from Deadpool. You've got that really cool poster they did where he's basically doing Flashdance. And, people love that with Deadpool. So, yeah, props to their video trailer person and marketing teams because they're really doing great. But, yeah, I really couldn't care less.
I think the other thing, going back to Alex's point about it, the first one, I have a very similar thought process on it to Alex. In the fact that I'm not a fan of the gross out humor and stuff. However, I think one of the reasons why it was so appealing was it wasn't all just that one kind of joke. There were a few jokes that fell flat for me in the first one, but they kind of varied it. There was they kind of went different angles and tried a lot of different things, and it was that kind of experimentation. For example, that whole first slow-mo scene, that was something that I've not seen before. I don't know about you guys, but
you need to watch more Hong Kong action cinema.
Then yeah. But it's just those kind of things were new. That's one thing which I'm not sure of is whether, they are going to go a bit try hard, like you say, Joe.
Yeah, we'll see. It could be great. Like, it could sort of make up for... It could mature a little bit past the first one, let's say, and it could be awesome. Like, the first one did have some really good action scenes at times, and, you know, it had... For people that are into it, it was great, but yeah, they just weren't me.
Fair enough. Okay, moving on to the news number 2, which came to me as a surprise, that there is Nightflyers adaptation coming to Netflix. And Nightflyers, for anyone who doesn't know, and I didn't know until I read this, is George R. R. Martin's novella. He wrote it in the 1980s, and... yeah, so the basic premise of this is that it takes place in the future, on the eve of Earth's destruction, and the crew of the explorers who journey into the depths of the galaxy on the ship called Nightflyer, hence the name, and they're wanting to intercept a mysterious alien spacecraft that might have some kind of understanding of how they survived their destruction. Yada, 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 they meet the ship, nothing goes well. So, pretty much Event Horizon, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Well, I'm on board. I love Event Horizon. That's a cracking film. So,
I am not a fan of that film. It's good, but it's too good.
Yeah.
It's too good at what it does. And
I love Sam Neill. To be honest, most things with Sam Neill in, I've got a lot of time for. And yeah, Event Horizon was brilliant.
I'm very sorry, there is no Sam Neill in this property. There is Gretchen Mol, Ian Macking, Angus Sampson, and Philip Riss, who I know none of those people.
I've heard of Gretchen Mol, but I can't think of why. I know she's been in stuff that I've watched, but I can't think why.
Isn't she the person from The Incredibles that made all the suits?
I don't know.
Also, I have been corrected from someone in the background saying that's Edna Mole. And,
no, it's not.
Yeah.
Sorry. We had, I couldn't hear you very well because it broke up a bit, so I didn't hear that you'd said the lady from The Incredibles.
Okay.
And yeah, God, no, it's definitely not.
Well, don't worry. I've got my own backup here correcting me when I get things wrong.
I know what I know her from. She was in Boardwalk Empire.
Oh.
And she's done a few films as well, but yeah, it's Boardwalk Empire that I know her from. She was very good. She was very, very good in that.
Yeah, anyway, I'm gonna look forward to that on Netflix whenever that comes along. And basically this news is to check out the trailer that I will link to in the description below.
Nice.
That is pretty much it. Okay, so GDC is happened or currently happening?
It will have just finished, I guess. It would just be finishing
would have just
up.
finished.
Yeah.
And they were showing off a bunch of stuff at that event, including various mocap stuff. So Andy Serkis did Macbeth as a photoreal alien in the new footage that they released of the mocap/CGI stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's the technology that's it's not like readily available. It's not like, right, that's what the video game's gonna look in the next 10 months or something. No, they're still working on it.
Yeah, I can tell you a little bit about this, what this actually is. So it's not just new mocap techniques, it's actually ray-traced rendering.
Okay.
And so they did a demo, there's a Star Wars demo, basically, where they've got 2 stormtroopers and there's a little scene they've done with Captain Phasma, and it's like cinema real quality lighting and textures and shading.
It's really funny.
It's basically new ray-traced rendering techniques. It's well away, you know, it's years away from being anywhere near consumer PCs. They're running it on enormous rigs, so we're looking at like 4 or 5 years before it's going to actually start filtering into games. But it's super exciting to show where the technology is going, like in terms of the hyper-realism that they're going to be able to get in the future in mocap and animation. And I mean, that's the Star Wars demo is just pristine. It's absolutely stunning. And yes, Andy Serkis, obviously this demonstrates the quality of Andy Serkis as an actor. He's incredible. And the lovely thing about this demo is they did obviously the 2 examples where you have him as himself. So they've done like a realistic representation of Andy Serkis and then mapped it onto the alien face. And both just look stunning. And yeah, so it's a whole load of new techniques. It's super exciting for the future. And anyone who works in game development is quite excited.
Do you though, as a game developer of sorts, find that modern games focus too much on how great the game looks rather than how great the game plays? Like, we all want to spend lots of money on it looking beautiful and realistic with motion capture and all that, but should that really be the focus?
I don't know. Obviously, I'm not a game developer. I'm, I work on a video team at a game development studio, and I can only really talk about what I've seen from my own perspective. creative in my company. And it's definitely not the case. Like, obviously, we definitely invest a lot in quality and the visuals and having things look amazing. But gameplay is still the absolute number one priority. The game has to be fun and it has to fit the parameters of the game we're trying to make. And visuals are a big part of that. But gameplay is still totally critical. At least from what I've witnessed myself.
Whereas where I work, it's all about how it looks.
It's all about the pretties. It's all about making it pretty. And
Shinies.
It looks very pretty. I'm going to go see Pacific Rim this next week, and I'm excited.
There's a surprise at the end for you.
So I think most game developers would probably, most studios would say the same, is that it's all about the game, and it's about making the best game possible, and the technology just helps us to do that. It's just a process that leads to an end product that is an amazing experience. And that's what I think most game developers are trying to make. So, super exciting. In 5 years' time, God, games are going to just look stunning. So, exciting!
I mean, if you compare back as well, it's like...
Oh, I know. The leaps and bounds.
The one that I always go to is, it's Halo, of course. But Halo 4 on the 360 was like so high up in regards to just the games that came before it, like a year before or 6 months before. It's just one of those things where like, and that's just on fairly old hardware at this point. So if you got like newer stuff,
it's exceptional. I mean, you look at The Last of Us is a good example. You look at, obviously, that original game when it came out was stunning for its time. Like, it pushed the PS3 as far as it could go. And then you look at what they're doing now for The Last of Us 2, and the quality in terms of the character animation is just absolutely amazing. So yeah, I mean, it's always evolving and it's always kind of changing, and we're not too far away from having absolutely hyper-real cinema-type experiences in games.
One of my main problems with Dragon Age 2, and this is so bad, that it just doesn't look that great now. And I can't play it because it doesn't look that great compared to Inquisition.
Have you seen Mass Effect 1? It's just,
I honestly think Mass Effect 1 looks better than Dragon Age 2. Kill me now, but yes!
Everything ages, we all die, and it's all
sad. Thanks, Cheerful Joe. Okay, you're talking next because you're talking about Cryptic new Westworld teaser online.
Westworld
Go for it.
Season 2 is coming. It's on the horizon.
It's coming.
And we're starting to see lots of Cryptic advertising coming for it. And the latest of which has been this new teaser, which was linked to... They issued a poster, like a marketing campaign, which had like a robotic, vulture on it. And apparently there were hidden codes within this poster that, of course, internet people just deciphered almost immediately.
In his ribcage?
I don't know, just in the poster somewhere. in the poster, I didn't look that closely myself. So obviously the internet peoples all deciphered this super quick, and they found this new teaser trailer online, which is all about doors. And obviously the first season was The Maze. Well, the second season is going to be The Door, and it's all going to hinge about this one sort of concept and have like an overarching story for the whole season. So I am so excited for this. I can't wait.
But most importantly, when is a door not a door?
Yeah, when I don't know.
When it's a jar.
Oh, for goodness sake, Bleezey. You should be ashamed of yourself.
When it's a what?
When it's a jar.
Tumbleweed.
I feel like I should just leave now. It's been fun, guys.
Just get out. But yeah, Westworld was one of the best shows of last year. It was fantastic. Was it last year or the year before?
I think it was last year,
right?
Yeah, I think it was last year.
Was it last year? Yeah, so I'm really, really hyped for season 2. I'm very excited to see what they do.
I should probably finish season 1 at some point. I got...
You should,
I got
brilliant.
really into it, and then I had one of those moments where I went, I want to watch something upbeat that doesn't constantly keep me down. And then I started watching the next episode, and it was quite a depressing episode, and I went, okay, maybe not this, I'll take a break, and I never went back.
We watched it religiously,
I mean, the same thing happened with The Expanse as well.
Oh, Bleezey, you hurt my soul.
I just got bored of The Expanse. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Thanks,
sorry.
Joe, you're shifting all the blame away from me here.
I know, just put the blame on me.
Okay, is there anything else to say about Westworld?
No, I think that's kind of it, really. It was just kind of, if you follow the links, you can see this teaser. It looks pretty interesting, nice and cryptic, and yeah, the show should be good.
Is it the type of sort of advertisement you like the cryptic and the hidden stuff and the deciphering?
Sometimes. I think it can be quite fun. Yeah, it depends what it is. Like, I think if it's done well, it can be quite intriguing. And obviously it fits in with Westworld because of the nature of the show.
I think it's got to kind of stand out because it's got to be different. And that is currently what this is doing. It's not just, here's a poster of, I can't even remember what they're called in there.
Vulture?
No, like the main people. Like,
the hosts.
Yeah, the hosts.
All right.
Because that was the first posters, right? It was just it was
like
the
now.
Da Vinci's Man, but it was the robot people, or something.
Well, yeah, that was for the first season, I guess, which suited that.
That's not eye catching, but I guess like,
was it too arty for you?
I mean, I did an art course. Nothing is too arty.
No.
Let's just hope they don't overdo it, like with Sombra.
Yeah, God, I was just thinking that, like, we don't need any of that anymore.
I actually completely forgot about that. That one was too complicated.
Yeah, it was, and it went on too long.
Also, did it ever actually end? It might still be going on.
Have you noticed that ever since that fiasco, they pretty much drop new heroes? They're like, there you go. Here you have Mora. Here you have Brigitte.
Yeah, speaking of Overwatch, well, I was going to say, we need to have our regular little mini Overwatch catch-up.
Okay, I made plans.
And obviously Brigitte has gone live now.
Just talked over it.
What? What did you say?
Bleezey just really wants you to know that he made Plat and he's very, very happy.
Oh my God, Bleezey, you made Plat on console. It barely counts.
Whoa. I made my career high as well.
I have a friend who's a GM on PC. Yeah.
Okay.
And by that logic, Joe is that much closer to stardom.
So that means I'm... It doesn't matter. Rank doesn't matter. It really doesn't.
Yeah, so Joe, whereabouts are you now?
I'm nowhere.
Nah, actually, I'm not going to be mean and call out where people's ranks were on console.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, God, on console. Well, I haven't played, like, the last 2 seasons on console, so I have no rank.
But I remember where you were.
Well, I was in gold.
Oh, were you? Okay,
Yeah.
I must not have played that season with you then, because I was just like, I remember high silver.
I got like, seasons ago, I got absolutely trashed in my placements and was in, like, bronze, and I climbed all the way to gold. So that's kind of where I sort of stopped. I
remember the season where you got trashed because you were too low to play with like half the group.
Yeah, exactly. That's the season that I climbed. I put in the work. I grinded all the way.
But because I was on the lower end, I was like, I'm going to stick with Joe because the games will be easier this way.
Yeah, but the opposite is almost entirely true because the problem is that all the people on your team don't know how to bloody play the game, and it's, oh my God, it's a nightmare. But
that's why you go combat mercy. You take things into your own hands.
Yeah, no, it doesn't work.
Not anymore.
We probably shouldn't discuss Overwatch comp because I'll just start tilting because honestly, it's so broken. It is so broken.
Brigitte or whatever it is.
But yeah.
Just for the reference, it wasn't yesterday, the day before yesterday, I played 5 games, I reported 6 people.
I report people pretty much every game.
I have only ever reported 1 person.
You're not doing it right, clearly.
Yeah.
I don't know, I've not had a lot of leavers or anything, and generally I think I've got quite lucky with who I have been matched with.
Anyway, Brigitte,
yeah, so she's out now. She is super fun. People are playing her wrong, obviously. Like Jeff Kaplan did a post.
They forget that she's a healer.
But she's kind of more of an off-tank with a bit of healing on the side. And this is the issue, is that people are trying to play her like a main tank, which she is definitely not.
Go play over other characters, like flank her on the sides and just hit them in the back.
Yeah, that's not what she's for.
Yes,
she needs
but
to
she
stay.
works very well that way.
She's very much like, should be in with the team. She's good with like brawlers like Roadhog and Zarya and that, so she could combo with them and stick with the, like, she needs to be in the centre of the team. She's definitely not a flanker, Bleezey.
If it works, if I get the win, it works.
She's a counter to flankers, is what she is.
Exactly. That's why they won't expect it when I use her that way.
Goodness sake. But yeah, I think she's super cool. I've not played that much of her, just a little bit, and I'm really enjoying her. Have you played much of her, Alex?
I have played a little bit of her. It was a really weird experience because I played I tried her a couple of times and I did not get along with her at all, and I was like, oh, that's a shame. I was really looking forward to playing her. And then, I play a lot of mystery heroes just because I like the loot boxes and I like to practice with a variety of heroes, and I find those games just way more chill than quick play or competitive, so they're quite nice. So then I got her a couple of times in mystery heroes, and I've actually really started to get along with her.
Yeah.
And I really like her now. But she does get used to it, like, to me, the first thing, how her powers work was not entirely instinctive. Like, every time I had to look, okay, so if I press this, I do this, and if I press this, I do that. So it took me a couple of minutes to get around to kind of, for my hands to remember what I have to do when I want to do something, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I had to, I've remapped most of them on PC, so like I have like a 5-button mouse, so I have things remapped.
I think I remapped the flail and the health pack. I swapped those just because
yeah, I've swapped them around.
It just seemed a little bit easier, but now I think at some point I did get used to the old controls, because every once in a while I'll flail when I mean to heal someone.
I do really like her. I think it's going to take a while for her to find her place in comps, because I also think in certain comps, she's going to be completely useless, and she can be countered quite easily. Like, if the enemy team has a Pharah, you might as well just not bother. She can't do anything against a Pharah.
Well, she can shoot herself, sort of.
Yeah, kind of.
I reckon with a D.Va, she'd be pretty good.
Yeah. She's definitely D.Va's also an off tank, so I'm not kind of sure. I sort of imagine like you having like a Rhine and a Brigitte would be a great tank combo. Obviously, yeah, but she's cool. She looks great. She's got some lovely skins, and I'm looking forward to playing more of her.
I still think my favourite thing is I've been playing No Limits, and at the beginning of the game, everyone goes her. Like, everyone picks her, and then slowly, as the game goes on, people get annoyed and start changing to other players. And then by the end, there's one person that's, like, stayed.
When a new hero is introduced, you always get all the DPS mains deciding they could suddenly play a support or a tank, and you're like...
I feel like that is me right now.
You know, and they'll try and play her like DPS. They'll give it up eventually and get bored and move back to being Hanzo or McCree.
I remember when Anna got added, and that was just a mess because it was just sleep dance everywhere.
It's like, I'm DPSing with Anna, look at me go!
My current pet peeve is people who main Moira, but main her as DPS character and not a healer.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dudes, because to me Moira is actually, I think I said before that she needs a support healer, but if you play her really well, she doesn't even actually need support healer. And not to kind of, whatever, boost myself and be like, watch it backfire on me. But if I'm playing Moira, I can heal the whole team by myself.
Yeah, you can solo. I would say really the only healers you can solo with are Moira and Mercy. Like, you can't solo with Zen for...
No. Zen, Lucio, no. Really, really good Anna, maybe.
Oh, yeah, occasionally you can do it with Lucio if you've got a comp where they're all going to stick together. But it's much harder with Lucio because he doesn't output the same level of healing at all.
But what was leading to is that whenever someone else picks Moira, and I'm like, okay, fine. So I go the other thing that the team needs, which is usually a tank.
Yeah.
And then I realized that this Moira is just running around killing things and not healing anyone. I'm like, dude, you're playing a healer. I know she can attack, and I know she needs to attack to heal, but that's not your primary role.
Well, Alex, just because you won't say it, you are a good Moira, but also you're a very vocal healer, which is something that Joe, when you played on console as well, that's what you need. Because, like, the amount of times where I'll be flying around as Pharah and Alex is going, I need you to come to the ground, I can't get you up there.
Yeah.
Then, that it helps that. And I feel like the other thing is those people that do go, like, DPS Moira and stuff, they don't talk either. And they don't listen.
No. You've essentially got a team of 5 because they're just going to run off and do their own thing. But, like I say, Overwatch needs some attention with especially the competitive matchmaking. Like, we need some form of role select or guild system or just something where you're not ending up in a game with 5 DPS mains and you're just like, there's nothing you can do. Like, you've lost the game before it even starts.
At that point, you go the 6th DPS. The only thing you can do.
Yesterday we played with the guy whose name was Bronze Here I Come. Guess what he did?
Oh, well, just throw, I imagine.
Yep.
See, these people just need to go away. Just stop it. Just, just like, what are you doing?
This started like such a positive conversation.
Anyway, to round it out, Brigitte is good.
Yeah, she's lovely. She's super cool. I think she's a great hero, and hopefully she finds a good place in the game.
We'll have to wait till May to see how she plays in competitive, but yes.
That's where we'll really get the proper sort of result, because obviously quick play is just not, it's not competitive. It'll be interesting to see how she's used in comp.
The last thing that I've got is her voice. What are your guys' thoughts on it?
What about it?
I don't know, but like multiple people that I've played with have said that her voice doesn't sound right for her character.
No, people are idiots. She definitely is, like, she has a Swedish accent, but, you know, if you've actually met any Swedish people, they have different intonations on their accent. People need to shut up and go away.
I honestly have no opinions.
Yeah, I feel like calling out the voice is a bit weird, but it's just because multiple players in like random have mentioned it, and I was just like, is this a big deal for people?
No. Well, it shouldn't be.
Okay, let's get back to the last news of the day, which is, so you know that Star Wars game that Visceral was doing, that Visceral's no longer doing because EA closed down Visceral, and that Star Wars game went to another EA studio? Well, guess what? From linear story experience adventure game, it's now gonna be a new open world game, because of course it's gonna be, because it's EA. And how do we know that? It's because there are job listings out there that don't even try to hide it. Woohoo! Yeah,
it's quite depressing state of affairs when there's a new Star Wars game being made and you just don't care.
I didn't care for any of them, but
yeah, so this is the thing. EA are obviously not done with tarnishing the memories of our childhood by just demolishing all that is good and right about Star Wars. So they're gonna keep trying to make a game that works. So we'll see how this goes, but I'm not hopeful.
No, EA has been in the news lately so much with so many negative things that honestly, and I'm trying to stay positive because, you know, EA own BioWare, so I kind of have to like them because I like BioWare, right? But I can't even master that. Every time I
it's a devil's bargain.
Definitely is. And now I just lost pretty much all of the interests for their properties, because I just not. Every time something bad happens, it has EA stamps on it. There's literally not been any good news. And by the way, this is not good news.
No.
Why do we need another open world Star Wars game? I don't want another open world game. I'm sure a lot of people don't want open world Star Wars game because, well, we didn't have before an open world Star Wars games in their Battlefront stuff. But Battlefront stuff just went so bad.
Yeah.
What we do want a really good Star Wars story, right? No, am I wrong?
No. I think, who knows? Maybe this could be great. Maybe they could get some really good people involved, and it could be like The Witcher, but for Star Wars. I mean, that would be fine. But who knows? I mean, it's obviously EA. Their mind is solely on the money, and that could well tarnish the quality of the game. But we'll see.
So I was about to say, I think I've got it sorted, guys. Here's what we want. We want kind of like a Battlefield game, but in Star Wars. And then, Battlefront exists, doesn't it?
Yeah, no thanks. And that's definitely not what we want.
Well, I just needed to get my Battlefield reference in every podcast.
Star Wars deserves more than just a shooting game. That sounds really harsh to like Battlefield, which is it's a really well crafted game, but it's just an FPS. Star Wars deserves so much more. That world is too rich to be wasted on an FPS shooter. It's just, there's too much.
Slightly, well, it's related to EA rather than Star Wars, but the Kotaku guys, the Kotaku Splitscreen guys, so Jason Schreier and Kirk, forgot his surname. I'm sorry, Kirk. So Jason and Kirk, let's stick to
Jason
that.
and Kirk. Aww.
Yeah, from Kotaku Splitscreen. They've been going around GDC doing interviews with different folk. So they did interview with Aaryn Flynn, who used to be GM for BioWare, but now quit, and Casey Hudson is in charge. And they obviously asked him a lot of EA kind of questions. And it is an interview where you kind of have to... You're kind of stuck in between being annoyed at Aaryn because he clearly cannot say or does not want to say stuff that are really happening, and him masterfully avoiding them and bringing it back to the positive. He's like, and we take a turn and back to the positive.
It's a real skill.
It's like a dance pirouette. They're like, and now stance back to the positive about it. You kind of have to give him well done, Aaryn. I know you don't longer really work for EA, at least as far as we know, but you're doing your job well. But at the same time, it was such a frustrating listen because you're like, come on, not everything is shiny and happy and everyone is dancing in the circles holding hands. Oh, come on, Aaryn.
Yeah.
Maybe, check out that Kotaku Splitscreen interview with him. I don't know, you might find him maybe funny, maybe not. I don't know. There you go. That's my last thoughts on EA. Can we move on to something very, very good, though?
Yes, shall we? Let's move on to our topics.
Yes. So, guys, I finally get to talk about the Florida Project.
Yay!
Wow, Bleezey, that was a very excited yay.
I'm sorry, that was actually supposed to come out properly excited, and my voice kind of just failed. I spent all day shouting, come on, you can do it, so, my voice is a little bit hoarse.
Well, Florida Project. Right. So, this movie should have been nominated for all of the Oscars.
Like it was nominated for Willem Dafoe, wasn't it?
But that was about it. It should have been nominated for Best Picture. Frankly, that it wasn't nominated for Best Picture, it's bad. Bad.
Yeah.
Don't have words for it. It should have been. So, the basic premise of the Florida Project is that it follows the life of a little girl called Mooney and her mother Haley, and they're the poorest as the poor you can get without actually being like homeless, like almost on the verge of homeless, but they're not completely homeless. And they live in this motel complex next to Disneyland. So you have this sort of very fairy tale Disneyland there always in the background, but they live in like the poorest of the poorest districts. There are abandoned houses. There's so many other families that live in this motel. They shouldn't be living there permanently, but they do. Manager of this motel is actually played by William Dafoe. It's very simply just goes through their days. Like, this is not a movie that has plot that you can go points by points. Things happen. Kind of really hard to watch things happen as well. But they're not on the nose. It's not like Exposition Central. And the thing that is incredibly fascinating about this movie, and why I think it's such an important movie for storytelling, is that it tells a story almost always from the Moonies, from the girl's perspective, right? So all the adults are almost seen kind of high up, as if you're looking from them from above, because you're not very tall and you have to crank your neck to look up at them. So a lot of the shots of adults are like this. All of the other shots that I think if they were from someone else's perspective, you would immediately recognize what you are. But because they're from the perspective of the kid, you almost don't understand, and it takes you a step. You're like, oh, right, that's what is going on. So for example, they have the scene where Mooney and her friends, they go in and you kind of see them go for the crowd and go, excuse me. And then they go and they're like, oh, can I have this food? And can I have this food? And can I have this food? And it's like an incredibly cheerful scene because they're like laughing, going for the crowd, and they're getting the food and they're also happy. And then you realize, wait, they're getting fed free food because they can't afford food. This is like a regular truck that pulls up by this motel that basically brings them food, and that's what they're doing. But it is so normal to them. This has become part of this kid's life, that they go to this truck and pick up this food. And it's horrifying when you process it, but in the moment when you're watching it, it's kind of so cheerful and mundane and surreal. And there's a lot of stuff like that. A lot of things that, through the prism of the child, you don't realize how incredibly terrifying it is, and how incredibly sad it is, and incredibly unfair as well. And especially because her mother, Haley, is, I don't know, she looks in her 20s. I don't know how old the actress actually is, but she's a child herself. She's incredibly mature. Her kid is running all over the place with the other kids, and she has no idea where they are. So she's the kid herself. Williams, the poor character, basically kind of becomes sort of the father figure to the both of them. That he's like, okay, look, I have to move you out because you haven't paid your rent. But, look, I'm going to store your stuff here, and then you go into this motel for a night, and when you get money, come back, sort of thing. Like, he's very paternal and very supportive, and he is keeping an eye on the kids while they're running around the hotel and stuff like that. Anyway, it's a big recommend, guys. It's not an easy movie to watch. It's a thing that you have to think about it while you're watching. It has a not so cheerful ending, as you might expect, really, from the premise, but it is also done brilliantly.
It does sound excellent. I kind of wanted to see it for a little while, so I'm kind of waiting for it to kind of appear on like a Netflix or an Amazon Prime or something, and then I'll watch it. But yeah, I it does seem like it was a bit unfortunate to sort of not be nominated for more things.
It absolutely has. I know I've been repeating this a lot, but this way of filming from the kid's perspective to me is just so unbelievably ingenious.
Yeah.
Generally, if you're just watching the kids and what you're doing, it's a very cheerful movie. There's two dimensions of it. That actually it's a very happy movie because, kids are playing around, they're happy, right? And then when you realize the context of where they're playing and what they're doing, you're like, oh, this is a really sad movie. And this juxtaposition of things is pure genius. Anyway, that is my recommendation. Please go. If you want to watch one movie that will raise your IQ and then culturally enrich you and do all that kind of stuff, as well as having a really good time, then you should watch The Florida Project.
The raise your IQ thing, how much by?
Not enough.
Not enough.
It will raise it somewhat, I promise you that.
I may be able to fool one more person.
Okay, next on to another movie that I don't think will raise your IQ, but I think you can have a pretty good time. Anyway, so Tomb Raider. 2018, clarification.
Yeah, the more recent one. Although I must confess, I do have a little bit of a soft spot for the Angelina Jolie Tomb Raider films. They're terrible, but I kind of enjoy them. Even so.
Well, they have Angelina Jolie. It's kind of hard not to like Angelina Jolie.
Yeah, and she's always good value. But yeah, they're bad films. But yeah, I really enjoyed the new one, actually. I kind of thought, yeah, it's really kind of basic and a bit silly and simple, but it was still fun and entertaining. And Alicia Vikander is really good as Lara Croft, I thought. Like, she handles all the action stuff really well, but is also quite charismatic and interesting to watch. I liked it a lot. I think as far as video game movie adaptations go, it's probably up there with, like, the better ones. It's not probably the best, but it did alright, I think.
And look, it's not gonna revolutionize any viewings. Some people say it's like a lot of indie movies. I've never seen an indie movie, so what do I know? It's very kind of standard Lara Croft formula, but even though it doesn't do anything fantastic, like, to this point, I don't think we even need to explain the plot.
No, I mean, it's what you expect, yeah.
Her dad disappears, she goes sort of, either he leaves her a job or she goes to find him, depending on the story, and she ends up in some exotic place raiding some tombs.
Does this follow the same as the first game?
Yeah, so it's a loose, I mean, it's pretty close, actually, but it does kind of change a few fundamental things. But yeah, it follows the story, roughly, of the first reboot. So was it 2013, that game? You've never played any of the older Tomb Raider games?
Well, I have not, but my sister had one for the PS2, and there was a really hard bit that she could never get past, which involved, like, shimmying up a drain pipe or something, and so, you know.
Oh, was it Angel of Darkness? Because that one's the worst one. It's dreadful.
Becca, do you remember what the Tomb Raider game you used to play was?
Tomb Raider.
Was it Angel of Darkness?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Confirmed.
Angel of Darkness is the worst one.
Apparently it's the worst one.
It's considered, like, people try and forget that it exists.
Okay, then, well, you know, I played the 2013 one. I've not actually played Rise of the Tomb Raider yet.
Oh, it's good. You should. And obviously, we're going to get, they secretly, announced Shadow of the Tomb Raider, which we're going to get later this year. That was kind of like, ta-da!
I think I played the first one at the point that the second one came out, so I'll play the second one at the point the third one comes up.
Yeah. No, I really like the new Tomb Raider games. I think they work really well. I like the new character, and the gameplay is really cool. She does become comfortable with murder a bit. I know,
it's like one beer, and she's like, oh no, what have I done? Then immediately kill 5 mercenaries.
Yeah, like in the game when she kills the first dude, and then she's like, oh god, oh no, I'm a murderer. And then, like, 2 minutes later, you're just, like, headshotting everyone with arrows.
I mean, I just remember there was, like, a rapid scene, which I think I got every death scene, and it was...
Oh, yeah.
They were not nice.
Oh, well, they, you know, there's a lot of the action scenes from the first game do make an appearance in the movie.
Oh, no. Do they have the grisly endings?
No, obviously, no. It's, you know, it wouldn't really be a spoiler to say that she doesn't die in the film.
No.
But it's I thought it was pretty good, really. I never expect too much from a video game film, because if you have too high hopes, you just get them dashed. Assassin's Creed looking at you.
I mean, all I'm thinking of is Doom was the greatest video game movie ever created.
Oh, get out. Just shut up. No, it's not.
It is like
terrible.
My guilty pleasure film.
Oh my god, it's so bad though.
I was watching it, and I think it was like the 4th or 5th time I watched it, and all these times I'd gone, this is so good, and then there was a point where The Rock goes,
dreadful.
Semper Fi, it means always faithful to the core, and I went, this is terrible.
Yeah, it sucks. I mean, it has The Rock, so it has that going for it, but it's terrible. I mean, I always kind of thought that Silent Hill was one of the good ones, and Prince of Persia was actually all right, but mostly because Jake Gyllenhaal has his top off a lot.
I didn't see Prince of Persia, and I've not seen Assassin's Creed.
But yeah, I mean, as far as video game movies go, I think this one was pretty decent, and it's not going to set anything on a light in terms of its narrative or character or stuff like that, but for a video game film, it's good fun, and you could do a lot worse. So yeah, I'd go see it.
Here's the thing: the one thing that annoyed me is that it starts with exposition, which the exposition is then repeated somewhere in the middle of the movie, and I'm like, what a waste of time. But other than that, what I didn't realize is that how much of the survival movie that actually is, because as soon as basically Lara or Alicia Vikander gets to the island, I think it's okay to say she goes to an island, basically everything is trying to kill her. And she's just on a constant path of trying to survive it in any way possible. And I think that's very enjoyable to watch because they're action scenes that you kind of expect from a Tomb Raider movie. Yeah. But at the same time, I think she brings a freshness to them because she's actually a really good Lara because she's like a realistic Lara, right? You always believe her that she's actually that character that goes through the stuff and she reacts logically to things that happen to her.
Yeah.
And logically, I mean in terms of her actions and in terms of her emotions as well. But yeah, there was some really stupid parts of it, but there are some also really good parts of it. And I think it's fairly enjoyable. It's completely unoffensive. And if you just want to watch something actiony that is fine and you don't really have to focus on it too much, just relax on the couch, then Tomb Raider is absolutely your movie.
Yeah, you could definitely do a lot worse for like just a fun action film. It's pretty good.
We already mentioned a few.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to round out this episode. We're talking about the game that we have been talking about for a while, but not actually playing it. But Bleezey has been playing it a bunch. I've started playing it. Anyway, it's Fortnite. Now, I need to explain how I got into playing this game because I've been resisting for a very, very, very,
I'm
very
still
long
resisting.
It was on the night where we'd started playing Bloodborne and the matchmaking would not work. And I was like, damn it, I really wanted to play Bloodborne and no one can spawn into my world, so great. Then we went on to play Overwatch and we got really bad teams, so really linking everything we've talked about in this episode. And then finally, as we were finishing one particularly bad game of Overwatch, they're like, oh, come on, Fortnite's better. I'm like, fine, I'm gonna download it. So, yes. So I downloaded Fortnite. I finally caved in.
What do you think?
It's enjoyable, and this is the first Battle Royale style game that I played. Like, I've never played H1Z1, I've never played PUBG, none of these things.
Me too.
And I'm not gonna lie, like, I get the concept. I'm not entirely enticed in it as many other people are. I find it entertaining enough. It doesn't hold me, like, I don't have that thing, ooh, I have to be the last one standing. Absolutely must try again.
It doesn't really do it for me that much either, to be honest.
I don't like really playing solo that much because I prefer having someone around. I like playing teams because you kind of have that person to talk to instead.
Well, we played in a team of 4, so...
Okay. My problem with Fortnite is the building. I just can't build to save my life. And so, basically, I also need a team that can do the building for me. And
You're like, guys, protect me, build me a shed!
The way I picture it is, we've all been dropped in, and 3 of them are construction workers, and I'm the security guy to keep the construction workers still alive. Problem is, if I get shot, then everything goes wrong. Well, in theory. Yeah, no, I'm genuinely curious, like, what were your first thoughts, like, your first game or something? Because, like, mine were a lot different to how I feel now, and so I just wondered, like, yeah, how did you get on with it?
We basically played with 2 people who could build and were really good at Fortnite and building in general, and 1 person who played Fortnite before quite a bit, and then me who was like, what button do I press? So that was the first game, and we didn't go very far. But then I think on the 3rd game we actually won, and on our last game we came 2nd, and like the world was tiny by that point because like we had like 1 person standing. I don't know. I don't get the tension. Like, I know there's supposed to be the tension where you're listening up for people and you're giving a call out to where everyone is. That tension is missing for me. The thing that I like about Fortnite is that it's fairly quick. As soon as you die, you can go and try another game. these are the things that, work for me because it's so very fast. You're like, oh, well, good luck on the next try. Gonna go off and try it again. That kind of thing. And it's sort of like, it's like a Peanuts thing. You're like, oh, well, I played for 10 minutes. It didn't work out. I'm gonna find another game in 5 seconds. And I'm gonna play for another 10 minutes and maybe it will work out. And it's like 10 minutes, 10 minutes, 10 minutes. It's really easy to get into this rhythm of trying just one more because the first one was so effortless in a way. And why would the second one not be effortless? But as I'm bringing it back to tension because that's what I was hoping for, because that's what everyone kept telling me about the PUBG, that moment where you're scouring through the buildings trying to find supplies and collect things and listening to the noises like upstairs and trying to figure out where people are.
Yeah.
And, running and shooting. So to me, there was this tension that so far I've not gotten at all.
I think they are quite different in that regard. Like, I've only played PUBG, and not for quite a long time, but when I played it, it was, especially in solo, it was super tense. Like, there's not really a way to describe it. It's just, freaking out, sort of hiding in a toilet and then blowing people away with a shotgun whenever they came close. I killed 3 people while hiding in a toilet in my game of PUBG, and that's the one where I ended up like top 3 or something. Can't remember. I've never won it solo. I've won it sort of like in teams, but it's just, it's weird. It's really hard to kind of explain how you feel like that, but it is super tense. And I don't know if Fortnite has that same atmosphere.
No, because it's very bright and colourful and cheerful.
I think basically it's like, a lot of the tension comes from you're on your own. I think with the team aspect, it reduces it by quite a factor unless all your team dies and you're facing off against like 10 other people in a tiny circle. I've not played PUBG.
And then you're being judged because all your friends are watching
exactly.
you.
Like, I've not played PUBG myself, but I did play Wasteland quite a lot, the armor mod, which was basically PUBG but without the shrinking circle.
PUBG before, yeah.
And that was terrifying just because like you'd be in a house and then suddenly you hear someone in a tank driving by and you're like, well, I don't know who they are, so I'm going to hide in this toilet like you said, and I'm just going to wait it out.
I just got bored of it really quick. Like once we'd won it once, like in a squad and got the chicken dinner, I was like, well, I'm done now.
You've achieved everything you can.
It. I've achieved what, it's done. And I went off and played other things like Overwatch where I'm just banging my head against the wall constantly. So I think what's quite nice with Fortnite, and I'm actually kind of glad that it's sort of taking over from PUBG a lot. Like PUBG seems to be having a decline, whereas Fortnite is just ever growing and getting better and better, is they're constantly updating it and adding to it, and they're constantly sort of like optimizing it and making sure it plays well and stuff, and they're just killing it. They're killing it with the support, and that's really, really cool. And I think if PUBG had done that, because PUBG has not been so good at keeping the game optimized and updated, then maybe PUBG would be doing a little bit better. But Fortnite, I think, really, it's the gold standard of like that kind of game right now. And it looks great, but I just don't have the time for it, so I'm going to continue to resist.
I kind of play it the way that Alex was talking about, like, it's quick. You don't need to really think about it. Like, even if you only have like 5 minutes and you're waiting for a phone call, and that phone call starts going off, you can basically just run straight into fire and take yourself out.
And just kill yourself.
It's just kind of one of those things where it just helps pass the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I only really play squads when I'm with people I can talk to.
Yeah, I bet it's fun, like, with friends. It's a good social experience, isn't it?
I'll play solo every once in a while, and the tension does definitely ramp up more, but it's once again, I think it's the silence of just not having someone to talk to.
Yeah.
I fear that, if I play by myself, then my inability to build stuff will really work against me.
Hiding works.
I like the idea of building stuff. The building sounds cool.
I've made it to second twice because basically I hide until like the last 20 people and then I go start taking people
Bleezey.
out. But the one time that I could have got first, I just made a mistake and basically I had an assault rifle and a shotgun, and the person, I was sneaking up behind them and I fired the shotgun instead of the assault rifle, and it was too far range-wise, and I went, oh no, I've made a terrible mistake.
You noobed yourself.
And then they turned around and I was just like, well, it's over now.
What I find fascinating as well about Fortnite is that the Battle Royale thing, which is obviously the mode that everyone plays, isn't actually the main game.
No.
Is it?
No.
And I just find that absolutely fascinating that it's...
At this point, does anyone even remember what the main game's supposed to be?
It's like tower defense, isn't it? You like build a base and defend it from hordes of
More importantly,
things.
has anyone played that version?
No. But I find that incredible, and like in a good way. Like, it's bizarre but brilliantly so, in that this add-on mode that at the time, I was one of the people as well. At the time, I was like, well, what? They're just cashing in on PUBG. This is silly. What are they doing? Blah, blah, blah.
I remember some very heated arguments over that. Over whether
I was just not convinced. And I didn't know any better of the game, but now they've definitely proved me wrong because they've made it work.
I think what they've done is, like, they had their thing that made it stick out, and it was the colourfulness, the style, but also...
And the building aspect, that's...
Whereas, I think if PUBG turned around and went, oh yeah, we've got a building mode, it's tacked on, whereas this is the fundamentals of the game is you build stuff.
No, so good on them. They've done really well, I think, and I'm glad people are playing it and enjoying it, and that it's ever growing. So yeah, good.
Yeah, well, for the price of £0 and $0, you might as well try.
Oh, that's right, because it's free to play, right?
Yeah.
Oh, see, now I don't have any excuses anymore.
I did get
God,
the season pass where you can kind of unlock stuff. It's like a leveling system, and I got that because it was like £5 a couple months ago, and just. That's that kind of progression that keeps you going back because you're like, oh yeah, no, kind of want that outfit or whatever, and then
yeah, I mean, anything you can unlock is completely cosmetic. So if you, I mean, look, it's one of the problems with loot boxes because some people say, look, cosmetics are important because I have this need to open stuff and you are kind of feeding on my problem.
I've got a compulsion.
The other people who don't care about cosmetic stuff, you're just not gonna care. Like it doesn't affect anything other than the look of your character in the game at any point, I think.
Well, the other thing I think, because it doesn't have that like loot box system, it's kind of got, you can, if you reach level 30, you look like a knight or whatever it is. It gives them something to aim towards for those people. But from what I'm aware of, there's also no way to just outright buy it.
See, I'm tempted now, god damn it.
Join us, Joe! Join us!
Come back to PS4.
When Bloodborne doesn't work, we go to Fortnite.
We miss you.
Well, that's the thing, because I don't really play with you guys that much anymore, because obviously I've moved to Overwatch on PC, so this would be an excuse to actually play with you all. Yeah, we'll see.
It's just the butt desperately thinking of an excuse not to. I might need
more convincing. Yeah, that's the thing, I'm trying to think of an excuse. It's free to play, damn it! I don't even have to spend money.
The pattern. Don't you think I notice it?
Yeah.
First, it was kind of Martin that left us for the PC world, and we'd never seen him again.
Yeah, see, I don't want to leave you guys. It's just Overwatch sucks on console in comparison. PC is so much better.
Yeah. Well, I can't WASD to save my life, so what can I do?
Yeah, me too. And also, my computer is always on the verge of exploding, so,
Yeah, that would be like a, is that a Farah rocket? Oh. Just my computer. Yeah, no, maybe I will, so I can play with you guys again. We'll see. We'll see.
Good. Come play with us. Come play Bloodborne with me.
Maybe.
What's up?
Oh, I can be the noob.
No, come play Bloodborne with me.
Oh, yeah, I can do that, for sure, yeah.
See, there you go. Okay.
Anyway.
Guys, we're gonna wrap it up.
Yeah.
Okay, so thank you very much for listening to episode 130 of BigRedBarel Geek Speak. We're gonna do some shout-outs to the lovely people. I'm gonna make Bleezey shout them out because he's a newbie.
Yeah, go Bleezey.
Shout-outs are Will Driver, Gabriel, Stingo, and Stealthy Joe.
Thank you very much for commenting, writing in, and all of that jazz. If you want to get in touch with us, you can do so on BigRedBarel.com. You can do this on Facebook, Facebook.com/BigRedBarel. You can also tweet at us at BigRedBarel. Use hashtag GeekSpeak so we can find your tweets. You can also speak to us directly. I'm at DustyTulip_.
I'm at Pixel Ritual.
And what happened to my voice there?
Oh, did your voice just break halfway through the podcast?
It was due.
Ouch!
And I am at Bleezey Boy.
Our videos are also come out on YouTube, so you can comment on there. It's Big Red Barrel TV. Join us Discord. As always, if you don't know how to find our Discord, message me, tweet at me, shout at me, and I will tell you how to get there. Am I forgetting anything other than the Tuesday? I don't think so.
What happens on a Tuesday?
Every Tuesday, on a Tuesday, we have a Tabletop Tuesday. It's like a really bad song that I just made up.
I liked it.
I mean, I think we can get a backing track for it, and then, we're really going to have something.
And just do a bit of like, yeah.
At this point, you won't even need to do this section. It's just you hit play.
Tabletop
on your
Tuesday
little...
is where it's at. Every Tuesday night we play some games and all that stuff. Yay!
I just like seeing the Super Hot Fire video in my head, like of everyone just going, "Ah!"
Yeah, my ears! I'm dying.
Anyway, come to Dalston in London town in loading bar scenario where every week we bring a new feature game to the bar, and if you play that game on the night, you will have a chance to win it before you go home. There will be a game. Keep an eye on the BigRedBarel.com or on a meetup where the game descriptions will come up.
And if there isn't a game, it will be find me and say hi.
Yeah, come say hi
Stalk
to Bleezey.
Bleezey. He likes it. It's fine.
Wait, what?
Come to Bleezey and tell him that you want a baby Guinness and he'll get you a baby Guinness.
Oh, hold on. No, I do not have the bank account for that. They were more expensive than I thought they were.
You'll have to pay for your own, but he'll go with you to the bar to get
Yes, and I will probably buy me one while we're there.
it.
There you go.
Yay.
Okay. Am I forgetting anything?
I think that's good. I think we're done.
Cool. Okay, so thank you very much for listening, and goodbye.
Bye.
Bye. Butts.
You and your ears are quite welcome.
For the podcasting goodness that you just heard.
Why not roll on over
To BigRedBarel.com.
for more podcasts?
News, reviews, and videos from the biggest, reddest site on the internet. BigRedBarel.com.
I'm going to go see Pacific Rim this next week, and I'm excited.
There's a surprise at the end for you.
Yay! What, your name in the credits?
No, because
No, I don't want any spoilers.
haven't had it confirmed yet.
Wait, we've seen your name somewhere.
Yeah.
Your name is in the credits?
Hold on. Becca, cover your ears. Becca doesn't know.
Okay.
But yeah, no, I can't confirm that. But yeah. Okay.
Cool.
Anyway. Yeah, but yeah, so it looks good.
It does.
Just derailed the whole conversation. Sorry, guys. Sorry, guys. Sorry, guys. Sorry, guys. Sorry, guys. Sorry, guys. Sorry, guys.